Welcome to Chatting the Pictures. My name is Cara Finnegan, and I'm a writer, teacher, and historian of photography.
And I'm Michael Shaw. I'm a writer, a psychologist, and also publisher of Reading the Pictures.
This campaign photo has a little bit of everything to it, including Joe Biden's personality, Jill Biden's guidance, and the demands of campaigning during a pandemic, if you're doing it the careful way.
This photo was taken by Andrew Harnik for the AP. Jill Biden pulls back her husband and presidential candidate Joe Biden to maintain social distance as he speaks to reporters outside his campaign plane in Newcastle, Delaware.
I think a lot of people know the context of this photo in that sense of why she's pulling him back, but it is interesting to think about it as a campaign photo. This photo really needs to be understood in the context of what we know about Joe Biden, the kind of close-up, backslapping, handshaking campaigner. And I think we're all aware, after many years in public life, Biden is really fighting his natural inclinations. Every time he goes out and campaigns during this pandemic, he wants to be close to people, he wants to talk to people, he wants to interact with people. And so one of the things I think that's really interesting about this photograph is you see somebody who is able, perhaps with help from Jill Biden in this case, to control those inclinations. That's a real contrast in the way that the Biden campaign is running, and of course what we've seen with Trump, which is a total lack of control at every level.
From the context, we know that he's most likely making a point as he's talking to reporters, but knowing the empathetic and kind of people person that Joe Biden is, it's hard not to see that gesture as Biden reaching out to shake somebody's hand.
If you look at the video of this moment, Biden was standing really close to this small circle of reporters on the tarmac, largely because they were about to get on a plane, which was already making a lot of noise. So you can see it would be natural to stand closer so that you can hear people who, of course, all of these reporters are speaking through masks, which would be another auditory challenge. It is this moment of Biden kind of forgetting himself because he's going into campaigning mode. And then Jill Biden sort of stepping in from the outside, from what on the video looked very far behind him, in fact, to kind of monitor. So one of the things I think is really fascinating about this photo, and it was talked about a lot in the media, was Jill Biden's choice to do this, to intervene and move up to her husband and say, okay, move back. And then he says to her, I'm sorry, and sort of says it to everyone in the group. If you look at her eyes above that mask, she doesn't appear to be looking at the reporters, and she's certainly not looking at the photographer, and she's not looking at her husband. She's gauging the distance, and she's doing something that we are all doing all the time right now. Every time you're out in public, right, you're looking around, you're gauging the distance. What is the safe distance between me and everybody else? And she's sort of got the bigger picture in mind in that moment.
Biden is not just overly social a person, but he's also sort of impulsive. And, we all know these people living through COVID that have some trouble distancing, but all that is softened by the presence and the conscientiousness, as you're describing, of Dr. Jill Biden, who's the teacher, who is very cognizant of these types of settings. She also is his protection, his rudder, and in this case, his body person.